Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 21st and tonight's movie is We're All Going to the World's Fair. I thought I made a mistake when I said in my Saint Maud video that was the only woman-directed movie I was going to be reviewing this month because I forgot about this movie, but turns out I was not wrong, as the director of this movie, Jane Schoenbrunn, is genderqueer and uses they-them pronouns, so actually I was right. That was definitely not two mistakes on top of each other. That was me respecting this person's gender identity. But anyway, the movie in question is a horror movie about this young lady, teenager, doing this internet challenge called the World's Fair Challenge. It's like this horror game on the internet. It kind of gives me Ben Drowned vibes. Apparently taking the World's Fair Challenge is going to change a person in some way. And this movie is her documenting those changes with her YouTube channel. Or maybe it's not called YouTube. Maybe they made up a website. But, come on, it's YouTube. Anyway, I really like the idea of this movie. There's a lot of great places they could take this. I'm gonna go give it a watch. I am disappointed. I didn't think that this movie was bad. It's just very much not what I was expecting and not what I kind of wanted it to be. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. I don't think there's really much point in splitting this into spoilers and non-spoilers because I would describe We're All Going to the World's Fair as a movie that's light on plot and heavy on vibes. With what plot I got, this kind of reminds me of The Empty Man, where, the trailer and the beginning of the movie made you think it was gonna go one way, but really it's going another way. But whereas The Empty Man started out going in one direction and then made a sharp turn, this one you think it's going to be about this one thing the entire time, and at the very end it's revealed that it never really was. It's not a movie about this internet horror, creepypasta, ARG type of thing at all. It's a story about mental health. But I think that the reason why they sort of led you on with the trailer in the beginning of the movie was because that puts you in the same position as the main character, Casey. You go into the movie thinking that it's real, so just like her, as you keep going on, you think that the changes that are happening or the strange things that we're seeing are caused by this strange World's Fair internet creepypasta thing. And as time goes on, she makes videos of her saying and doing more and more concerning things to the point where she's saying stuff like, one of these days I'm gonna disappear, or saying that she's planning, not even planning on, she just knows that the next day she's going to either kill her dad or herself. And the culmination of this is her, covering her face and arms with glow-in-the-dark paint and, destroying her favorite stuffed animal on camera. And again, because the way that this movie started, I thought that this was because of the World's Fair Challenge. But then after that, she gets on a Skype call with someone on the internet that she's been talking with about this, and he tells her that the World's Fair Challenge is literally just like a performance art. It's an ARG. It's ways for creators to show their own sort of ideas. And he's been getting more and more concerned because he doesn't know if she's aware of that. He kind of just assumed that at the beginning, but it's getting to the point where he was considering doing a wellness check or something. And there's a really good moment of acting with the actress who played Casey, Anna Cobb. There's a moment where she looks shocked and then she sort of pulls herself together and says, "Yeah, I know, this was all fake. Why were you about to call the police on me?" Basically just backpedaling as hard as she can. And she cuts the call off after that and tells him to never contact her again. And then the last scene of the movie is that guy talking about how, a year later, he met up with her in real life and how she, went to get mental help after that. And apparently the intention is that it's ambiguous whether or not this meeting happened. When I heard it, it didn't sound real. It sounded like something made up. So I guess ultimately it's left ambiguous. Did she get help? Did she not get help? Did she end up doing something terrible? We don't know. But I would believe that she didn't end up doing something terrible, and I think that part of that was the fact that she did get that wake-up call. I'm pretty sure the message of this movie, or one of the messages of this movie, is that often it never hurts to ask someone if they're doing okay. Especially with people who make art. Like her YouTube channel, it was a type of performance art for her. And sometimes, if everything they make points in a certain direction, it's not really gonna hurt matters just to make sure. So, with all the nice things I do have to say about this movie, why am I giving it a pretty mediocre score of 6 out of 10? Well, a lot of this movie is very boring. I talked about how it seems to favor vibes over plot, and that comes in the form of a lot of very long scenes where not a lot is happening. Like, the very first scene of this movie is this long, uninterrupted shot of Casey just sitting in front of her webcam and, like, first preparing to, like, record her video and then actually recording her video. Or, like, if she'll go to a barn, the movie won't just cut to her being there, we see her walk there. I also had to listen and watch an entire ASMR video, which I hate, for this movie, so that's some more points against it. Then there's also, like, the bait and switch of this movie. I understand why they did it the way they did, because having you believe that this is about this, like, internet creepypasta type of thing puts you in the main character's shoes, and then it sort of serves as a surprise to both the audience and her when it's revealed that none of it was real. But I really liked the idea that they started out with. I really would have liked to see a movie where it was about this supernatural thing and this YouTuber, inspiring influencer documenting these changes. And just because what I ended up getting wasn't bad doesn't mean that I'm not kind of disappointed in that regard. But despite all my issues, I do think that We're All Going to the World's Fair ultimately did work as a movie. But if you're gonna watch it, I think you should know what you're gonna get into. Alright, thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.